What if you dropped a Spinosaurus into the Florida Everglades? Could it dominate this place? The moment you hatch, your very first thought is regret. You want to crawl right back into your egg. 90 miles per hour winds drive torrential rain right into your face. Half of your very first breath is just water. For any other newborn, this would be a terrible start. But you're different. Spinosaurs are born with a flood survival buff. In your ancestral home, the North Africa of the Cretaceous period, once monsoon season hits, the entire river overflows. For a hatchling Spinosaurus, this is just routine. You're only 3 feet long and weigh 15 pounds smaller than a husky. The flash flood triggered by the storm easily drags you into the raging waters. Panicked and disoriented, you thrash all 4 limbs desperately to survive. With a thud, you slam into a cypress tree. You dig your claws deep into the bark, holding on for dear life for 3 whole hours. When the storm passes, you're somehow still alive. This is the first milestone of your life. You survived a natural disaster all on your own. 3 days go by, and you haven't managed to get a single bite to eat. Back in the Cretaceous waters, huge fish swam in massive shoals. You could catch a full meal with your eyes closed. But the fish here are small and fast, and you haven't figured out the trick yet. You tried catching largemouth bass, but you were too slow, and face planted into the mud. You tried snapping at a turtle, but as soon as it tucked into its shell, your weak bite force couldn't break through. Driven crazy by hunger, you grab a mouthful of sawgrass and stuff it in your mouth. 10 minutes later, you throw it right back up. You are a carnivore. Your gut can't digest grass. Finally, you scavenge a half-eaten dead fish. That becomes your very first meal. Needless to say, it tasted terrible. A few days later, you venture deeper into the swamp. You lie low in the water, completely motionless. This technique is called wading ambush hunting, the core hunting strategy of a Spinosaurus. Along a Spinosaurus's snout, there is a row of small neurovascular pits, just like an alligator's. They are specially designed to detect water pressure, where prey is and whether it's moving. You don't need to see it. You rely entirely on these pits to know. Just as you feel like you're starting to get the hang of it, you suddenly sense a massive creature entering the water. Your first reaction, a big fish. Food. You dive down to check it out, only to find an 8-foot-long bull shark, one of the few sharks that dare to venture into fresh water. It's exceptionally aggressive. The way it looks at you isn't how it looks at a fellow predator. It's looking at you like food. Naive as you are, you look back with the exact same stare. It takes a tentative bite at your tail. Screaming, you scramble wild-eyed toward the shallow water. You whip around and slash violently across its snout with your claws. Luckily, its snout is extremely sensitive. It retreats, and you scramble frantically up onto dry land. Collapsing onto the muddy bank, you gasp heavily for air. The Everglades has just taught you a lesson. Even if you are a semi-aquatic animal, the water isn't necessarily safe. 6 months pass, and you've grown to 10 feet long and 200 pounds. Just as you start adapting, the dry season arrives. You have to stay in the water to hunt, but the water is steadily shrinking. You haven't eaten a thing in 4 days. Just when you're about to hit your limit, you spot an alligator hole, one of the last remaining deep water holes for miles around. At its deepest point, it's 8 feet, and the pool is crammed full of fish and turtles. 3 American alligators are guarding the inside. By the rules of the swamp, this territory belongs to them. Hunger makes you lose your mind. The nearest alligator growls low at you in warning, but you ignore it and pounce straight at it. The other 2 instantly make their move. As you lunged at the first one, another clamped down on your front right leg from the side, sinking its teeth deep enough that you can feel it in your bone. Your only advantage is your body weight. You slam your entire body weight into it, body slamming it into the mud. You hear a sharp, sickening crunch of bone. Agonized, it releases its jaws. The third one takes the opportunity to attack your dorsal sail, successfully tearing through part of the membrane. It's a kind of pain you've never experienced before. Screaming, you twist and thrash, carving 3 deep, bloody gashes across its back. And right at this moment, the biggest one, a 12-foot-long old alligator, bites directly into your neck. You use both arms to grab hold of both sides of its skull, your claws piercing the soft tissue behind its eyes. Severely injured, all 3 alligators retreat. Your Pyrrhic victory comes at the cost of bleeding wounds on your leg, sail, and neck. You claim the deep water hole and gorge yourself for 2 whole hours. Eating with desperate voracity is something hardwired into your very bones. In Cretaceous North Africa, Spinosaurus had to fight for food on land against Carcharodontosaurus and compete with all kinds of giant crocodilians in the water. You're simply doing what your species has done for millions of years. In January, a cold front hits. For 3 consecutive nights, temperatures plummet to 39 degrees Fahrenheit. Spinosaurs are reptiles, naturally bad at handling the cold. Cretaceous North Africa was tropical, so Spinosaurs never evolved the ability to withstand freezing temperatures. For 3 straight nights, you are virtually paralyzed. The moment temperatures rise, you immediately angle your sail straight at the sun to bask for 6 hours. A Spinosaurus's sail acts just like a solar panel, rapidly absorbing heat to let you slowly recover. Only now do you realize that your sail isn't just for show. It's a genuine survival tool. The cold wave passes and the rainy season returns. You made it through. Growing tougher and tougher, you are now 46 feet long and weigh 8 tons, becoming the single most dangerous creature in this swamp. Alligators steer clear the moment they spot you, and deer never come near the water during your active hours. You've become the apex predator. Yet the moment you claim the crown, you realize that these waters can't keep you full. A Spinosaurus needs at least 90 pounds of meat a day. Back in the Cretaceous, a single 440-pound Mausonia could feed you for 5 days. Here, however, the largest fish you can consistently catch weighs only 33 pounds. This ecosystem simply cannot sustain a creature of your size. The scarcity of food drives you toward the coast in search of bigger prey. You push into a coastal mangrove forest, when suddenly you feel your leg tangled up. A Burmese python winds its way up you. Pythons rely on constriction, squeezing with all their might, exerting around 14 pounds of pressure per square inch. Sounds intimidating, but you weigh 8 tons. You snap it up in your jaws and thrash it around a few times. It's over in 30 seconds. You rip open its belly, revealing a half-digested alligator inside. The invasive python ate the native gator, and you ate both of them together. The food chain is completely broken. You keep moving toward the coast, entering a brackish waterway. This is American crocodile territory. You encounter a massive 16-foot American crocodile. It belongs to an endangered species, with only around 5,000 left worldwide. To avoid extinction, they usually stay out of trouble. But this male croc has guarded this territory for 30 years. In his eyes, you aren't just trouble. You're here to steal his turf. He slams his head heavily against the water surface as a greeting. You lower your head and hiss back. Both sides wait for the other to back down, but neither gives in. He strikes first much faster than you expected, latching onto your shoulder in a vice grip. With a violent thrash, you hear a loud crack inside your body. This is the first time in your life you've had a bone snapped by a bite. You grip him tightly with your claws, plunging them deep into his tough hide. 2 behemoths tangle into a thrashing mass in the water, blood spreading through the murky currents. You can't open your eyes, you can't catch your breath, and for the first time, you truly feel like you might die here. But you are larger, and body mass is your trump card. You pin him into the shallow water, bite down on his throat, and hold him down until he stops struggling. You have taken down the largest predator on the Florida coast. Your prize is an infected shoulder and nowhere else to go. On the 3rd day of recovering, you catch a familiar scent in the waterway. It's a 15-foot small-toothed sawfish. Its tooth-studded rostrum cuts through the water as it swims. Your DNA instantly ignites. 95 million years ago, the primary prey of a Spinosaurus was precisely this kind of giant sawfish. Paleontologists once discovered a fossilized Spinosaurus jaw fragment, with a giant sawfish vertebra still lodged between the teeth. Without hesitation, you pounce straight toward it. You drag it onto the shore. For the first time since you hatched, you are tasting what you were naturally born to eat. This flavor is etched into your genetic code. This feeling is right. Nothing else can replace it. But you will never eat it again. This was the very last sawfish in this region. This species is already critically endangered, and you just devoured the only thing that brought you a sense of familiarity. A year later, your territory has been eaten into a wasteland. Alligator populations are down by 60%. Large fish species are locally extinct, and migrating deer herds avoid these waters entirely. Now you are starving once again, because your dominance was far too absolute. As day breaks, you stand in chest-deep water. The first rays of morning light hit your sail, and everything around you is unnaturally quiet. Living creatures remain, but every surviving creature has learned one simple truth. Wherever you go, death follows. You have won completely and utterly. You cleared out both your rivals and your food supply. There is nothing left to sustain your 8-ton body. You did nothing wrong. You were simply too powerful, trapped in the wrong place. Just by surviving, you slowly drained these waters dry. Daylight arrives, and the swamp's sole king,